Diamond status, 200 nights at sea, 15 years of choosing the same cruise line over and over and over again. You gave them your vacation budgets, your anniversaries, your retirement trips, and Carnival looked at all of it and decided you weren't worth keeping. But here's what doesn't add up. If loyalists are leaving, and they are screaming about leaving on every forum, every Facebook group, every comment section you can find, then why are Carnival's ships sailing at 110% capacity? How does a ship even exceed 100%? And if it can, who exactly is filling those cabins the loyalists supposedly vacated? That's the question nobody answered in the video you probably already watched. You know the one. 266,000 views. Massive comment section full of platinum and diamond members pouring out years of frustration. But the video never said platinum, never said diamond, never explained the mechanics of why a company bleeding its most dedicated customers is simultaneously packing ships tighter than they've ever been packed. And it never once mentioned the cruise line that kept showing up in those comments. The one former Carnival loyalists were recommending to each other, unprompted, over and over. This is the video that comment section was writing on its own. So let's start with the paradox, because if we don't resolve this in the next 60 seconds, nothing else I say matters. Carnival Corporation reported fleet-wide occupancy rates pushing past 105, 108, even touching 110% on peak sailings in some quarters of 2024 and into 2025. Sounds mathematically impossible until you understand how the cruise industry counts bodies. Occupancy is calculated against something called lower berth capacity, the number of passengers if every cabin held exactly 2 people. But modern Carnival ships are designed with pull-out sofas, fold-down bunks, 3rd and 4th berth slots that let a cabin built for 2 sleep 3 or 4. A vessel with a lower berth capacity of 3,000 routinely carries 3,200, 3,400, sometimes 3,600 passengers on a single sailing. The ship didn't get bigger, it just got more packed. And that packing is the engine behind everything. Every complaint, every frustration, every forum post that reads less like anger and more like grief. Overcrowding, declining food, relentless nickel and diming, the gutting of a loyalty program that took people decades to climb. These aren't 4 separate problems. They're 4 symptoms of one deliberate corporate decision. And that decision has a paper trail. To understand what Carnival took from its loyalists, you have to understand what those loyalists earned. This is where the viral video left 266,000 people starving. Carnival's loyalty program is called the VIFP Club, Very Important Fun Person, a name that reads as almost cruelly ironic right now. It runs on a tier system built around cumulative cruise points, with points roughly corresponding to nights at sea. Blue is where every first-time cruiser starts. Red kicks in at 2 points and carries through 24. Gold runs from 25 through 74. Platinum, the tier that became a genuine identity marker for tens of thousands of repeat cruisers, requires 75 points. 75 nights aboard Carnival ships, accumulated across however many years it takes. Then Diamond, 200 points, 200 nights at sea. For a couple taking 1 or 2 week-long cruises per year, reaching Diamond represents a decade and a half or more of continuous, deliberate loyalty to a single cruise line. Not casual, a commitment. The perks, and this is what the audience already knows but nobody on camera has bothered to articulate, weren't extravagant. Platinum members didn't get free sweets. Nobody was popping bottles on Carnival's tab. What they got was recognition. Priority boarding and debarkation, which isn't trivial when 5,000 people are funneling on and off a ship at the same port on the same morning. Complimentary laundry service, a genuine quality of life benefit on longer voyages. Drink discounts, not free drinks, but a percentage off that acknowledged your history. Invitations to exclusive platinum and diamond gatherings on board. A cocktail reception, a galley tour, a room full of people who'd also given years of their travel budgets to this company. And the VIFP logo gifts. Physical items, a bag, a pin, a branded keepsake, modest in material value, enormous in emotional weight. They said one thing: we see you. We know how long you've been here, and this is yours because you earned it. Diamond members got amplified versions, more laundry, better priority, additional event access, and a deeply felt sense that Carnival recognized what it takes to spend 200 nights aboard their vessels. These weren't luxuries, they were acknowledgements. Then Carnival announced the VIFP Club would be retired and replaced by a new program called Carnival Rewards, with the full transition set for September 2026. Corporate communications called it an evolution, a word chosen with the surgical precision of a legal team that knows exactly how furious the customer base is about to get. The core shift hit like a gut punch. The old system rewarded tenure, how many nights you'd spent aboard, period. Didn't matter if you booked an interior cabin on a short Caribbean hop or a balcony suite on a transatlantic crossing. Time at sea equaled status. The new system tilts the calculus towards spending. A single passenger booking one high-end suite with a beverage package, a Wi-Fi plan, and specialty dining reservations can now accumulate rewards faster than a Diamond member who gave Carnival 200 nights of their life. VIFP Club logo gifts? Gone. Carnival confirmed they would no longer be given. Priority boarding restructured in ways that diluted exclusivity. Drink discounts, event invitations, the small, meaningful markers of earned status, all subject to revision. The grandfathering provision was narrow enough to feel like an insult wrapped in a concession. Guests who achieve Diamond in the current VIFP Club by May 31st, 2026 get some form of recognition in the new program. But specifics? Deliberately vague. For the Platinum member sitting at 140 nights, someone who's 3 or 4 cruises away from Diamond after a decade of working toward it, the message couldn't be clearer. The finish line you've been sailing toward just moved. The race you were running may not exist anymore. So why would they gut a loyalty program while posting record numbers? Because those record numbers are the reason. Carnival Corporation generated roughly $25 billion in revenue during fiscal year 2024. Passenger volumes surged past pre-COVID levels. CEO Josh Weinstein presided over a company that wasn't recovering from the pandemic. It was using the pandemic reset to rebuild its entire customer base from scratch. Here's the math. A Diamond member who booked interior cabins, used earned drink discounts and took advantage of complimentary laundry generated less net revenue per sailing than a first-time cruiser who paid full brochure price, purchased a $60 per day beverage package, bought the Wi-Fi plan at $16 to $20 a day, reserved paid specialty dining at $35 to $65 a head, and signed up for marked-up ship-sponsored shore excursions. The loyalist earned perks through volume. The newcomer pays retail for everything. From a pure revenue per passenger standpoint, the newcomer wins. Carnival's marketing confirms it. Heavy investment targeting people who've never cruised, younger families, first-time vacation buyers, the partnership with Shaquille O'Neal, roller coasters and water parks on the XL-class ships. Mardi Gras in 2021, Carnival Celebration in 2022, Carnival Jubilee in 2023, all designed to attract someone who's never set foot on a cruise ship. Not to retain the person who's sailed 45 times. That's the resolution of the 110% paradox. The loyalists leave. They aren't missed. They're replaced at higher yield, in greater volume, by customers who've never heard of the VIFP Club and don't know what they're missing because they never had it. And now trace the chain reaction nobody in that viral video laid out. Bigger is definitely not better, but bigger is more profitable, and Carnival chose bigger. The trajectory is staggering. Early 2000s, Carnival's largest Conquest-class ships carried roughly 3,000 passengers. The Dream class around 2009 pushed towards 3,600. Vista class in 2016 approached 4,000. Then the Excel class, those behemoths exceeding 180,000 gross tons, maximum capacity past 5,200 passengers. In 15 years, the largest Carnival ship nearly doubled its passenger count. These are floating cities. They come with the problems of cities. When a ship feeds 5,000 people 3 meals a day, 15,000 meal services daily, over 100,000 across a 7-night voyage, ingredient quality changes fundamentally. The buffet that carved prime rib to order on a 2,500-passenger ship cannot maintain that standard at double the headcount without doubling the galley staff and food budget. That doubling didn't happen. Menus shrank. Specialty restaurants like Giovanni's and Fahrenheit 555 absorbed the quality the main dining rooms surrendered. But they charge $35, $45, $65 a head. Included dining became the thing you eat because it's free. The experience you want now costs extra. The crew-to-passenger ratio, a number experienced cruisers track the way frequent flyers track legroom, hasn't kept pace either. 1,500 crew serving 3,000 passengers is a fundamentally different experience than 1,500 serving 5,000. The server who had 4 tables now has 7. The cabin steward who maintained 16 staterooms handles 22. Not incompetence, not laziness, math. Bigger is definitely not better for the passenger in that dining room. But nobody at Carnival's corporate offices eats in that dining room. And this pattern isn't just Carnival. September 2023, Delta Airlines devalued its SkyMiles program, shifting medallion status thresholds to require spending minimums on Delta-branded credit cards instead of just flight frequency. A road warrior flying 150 economy segments could be outranked by someone flying half as often but spending more per ticket. Royal Caribbean's Crown and Anchor Society introduced accelerated point accumulation for suite-level passengers. Norwegian's Latitude's rewards shifted incentives toward onboard spending. The playbook is identical across every loyalty program in the travel industry. Tenure earns you nothing. Spending earns you everything. And decades of customer relationships become a cost to be optimized away. Now, the viral video pointed toward alternatives. Holland America, Celebrity Cruises, Virgin Voyages, all mentioned, all reasonable enough. But one line dominated that comment section like no other. Generated the single highest engagement of any topic in the entire thread. Former Carnival loyalists pointing at the same name, independently, unprompted, over and over. And the video never mentioned it once. Viking. That wasn't a coincidence. And this is where the story stops being about what Carnival took from you and starts being about what's actually waiting on the other side. Viking Ocean Cruises operates ships carrying 930 passengers. 930. Let that number sit for a moment, because it doesn't just represent a smaller ship. It represents an entirely different philosophy about what a cruise should be, who it should serve, and what the relationship between a passenger and a cruise line is supposed to look like. Carnival's Mardi Gras exceeds 180,000 gross tons and carries over 5,200 passengers. Viking carries 930. That's not a size difference, that's a different species. And nearly every design decision Viking has made flows from that foundational choice to stay small, stay focused, and refuse to chase the volume game that turned Carnival into a floating shopping mall with a hull. Torstein Hagen built Viking on a single conviction that the mainstream cruise industry abandoned somewhere around the time they started installing roller coasters on the top deck. Hagen, Viking's Norwegian-born founder and chairman, constructed a set of principles that read like a direct inversion of everything the megaship lines were becoming. Not just a different product, a counter-thesis, an argument about what cruising was supposed to feel like. The passenger Viking was built for is someone who's been places before, who doesn't need a zip line to feel like they're on vacation, and who chose cruising originally because it offered a way to see the world in comfort, not because it offered a water park in the middle of the ocean. Here's what Viking includes in the fare, and pay attention to this list, because if you're a Platinum or Diamond Carnival member, you're about to recognize every single perk that was either stripped from you, diluted, or put behind a paywall. Shore excursions in every port of call. Not one, not a complimentary preview, a curated excursion at every stop, included in the price you already paid. Wi-Fi throughout the ship, on every sailing, for every passenger, included. Specialty dining at onboard restaurants, not just the main restaurant, but the specialty venues too, included. Beer, wine and soft drinks with lunch and dinner, included. Self-service laundry facilities. Stop on that last one. Self-service laundry. Included. For every passenger on every sailing, regardless of status, regardless of how many times they've sailed, regardless of anything. The exact perk Carnival is stripping from Platinum and Diamond members who spent a decade and a half earning it, Viking gives it to everyone who walks up the gangway. Not as a reward, as a baseline. No casino pulling revenue through games of chance. No children under 18. No pool deck crammed with thousands of bodies fighting over lounge chairs. No roller coasters, no water parks, no staged entertainment designed to distract you from the fact that you're sharing a vessel with 5,000 strangers who are all trying to get a hamburger at the same time. Walk the decks of a Viking ocean ship, and what you find instead is something the Platinum and Diamond demographic recognizes instantly, because it's the thing they fell in love with the first time they stepped onto a cruise ship 20 years ago. Before the industry decided bigger was better and louder was more. No art auctions, no spa sales ambushes, no photographers blocking stairwells, no casino noise bleeding into the atrium at midnight. The ship feels like it was designed for the passenger, not for the passenger's wallet. It's the kind of space that couldn't exist on a Carnival XL-class ship, because that square footage would need to generate revenue per hour, and a quiet ship full of people simply enjoying themselves doesn't generate revenue per hour. On Viking, the quiet is the point. The enrichment programming assumes the passenger is an intellectually curious adult, which, not coincidentally, is exactly the profile of a 62-year-old Diamond member with 200 nights at sea, who has seen enough poolside comedians to last a lifetime. It's the kind of civilized, unhurried experience that used to happen on mainstream cruise ships before those ships turned into amusement parks that occasionally visit ports. And the crew-to-passenger ratio on a ship carrying 930 people It's what happens when the crew is serving a fraction of the headcount a megaship demands. Former Carnival loyalists keep landing on the same phrase in their Viking reviews, and it's worth paying attention to because it's not a phrase you hear from people describing a product. It's a phrase you hear from people describing a genuine recalibration. Never been so pampered in my life. The space, the silence, the attentiveness of crew who are serving a fraction of the headcount, all of it registers as a visceral quality difference. This isn't magic, it's not some proprietary training program, it's arithmetic. When your ship carries 930 people instead of 5,000, the crew has the bandwidth to actually see the human beings in front of them. The itineraries tell the rest of the story. Viking was built around the proposition that the destination matters more than the onboard spectacle. The destinations aren't background scenery for the onboard experience. They're the reason for the voyage. Viking builds its itineraries around the places you're going, with onboard enrichment, destination-focused lectures by academics, port talks that function as genuine educational briefings, enrichment activities tied to the region that makes the sailing between ports feel like preparation rather than waiting. For the Carnival Diamond member who started cruising because they loved the idea of waking up in a different port every morning and walking through streets they'd never seen, and who slowly watched that experience erode as the ships got bigger, the ports got more congested, the shore excursions got more expensive, and the onboard experience became about extracting revenue from every available surface. Viking isn't an upgrade. It's a return. It's the version of cruising they remember falling in love with, built by someone who never forgot what that was supposed to feel like. Viking's growth tells you this resonance isn't anecdotal. The company has been on an aggressive expansion trajectory, ordering new ocean ships, launching expedition vessels for polar and remote destination itineraries, extending into regions that push the boundaries of where a cruise ship can take you. This growth isn't fueled by people who've never cruised. It's fueled by experienced cruisers, the exact demographic Carnival is shedding, who decided they were done subsidizing a business model that replaced quality with quantity and then charged them extra for the quality it removed. Now, the price question, because someone always raises it, and it deserves a straight answer. Viking costs more per night on the sticker price than Carnival. That's true. No getting around it. But here's what the experienced cruiser already knows, and the first-time cruiser hasn't figured out yet. Carnival's base fare is not the real price. It's the door charge, the cover fee to get aboard. The real price is the fare plus the $60 per day beverage package, plus $16 to $20 a day for Wi-Fi, plus $40 to $60 each time you want to eat at a restaurant that serves food worth eating, plus the marked up shore excursions, plus every other charge that didn't exist 5 years ago and now shows up on your shipboard account like clockwork. Viking's price is the price. Shore excursions, Wi-Fi, wine at dinner, specialty restaurants, laundry, all included. When you run the real math, total spend divided by total experience, the gap between what Carnival actually costs and what Viking charges narrows dramatically. And for that narrowed gap, you get 930 passengers instead of 5,200, included everything instead of extra everything, and a crew that has the actual capacity to be attentive to the human beings they're serving. The Platinum member who's been running these numbers in her head since the VIFP restructuring dropped already knows all of this. She's known for months. She just needed someone to say it out loud and confirm what the comments section figured out on its own. So here's the verdict. Carnival didn't make a mistake. They made a calculation. They looked at $25 billion in annual revenue, ships at 110% capacity, and a new customer base willing to pay retail for everything a loyalist earned for free. and they chose the newcomer. Every complaint, the overcrowding, the food, the fees, the loyalty gutting, isn't a separate failure. It's one strategy viewed from different angles. Bigger is definitely not better. But bigger is more profitable. And Carnival picked profit over the people who built the brand. You're not crazy. This really happened. The tier names are Platinum and Diamond. The thresholds were 75 and 200 nights. The new program is Carnival Rewards. It values your credit card balance more than your 200 nights at sea. The ships carry 5,200 passengers now. The crew didn't double when the headcount did. The food budget didn't either. And the logo gifts that sat on your shelf. The ones that said, "We see you, and we know how long you've been here." Those are gone. But somewhere right now, a 930-passenger ship with included Wi-Fi, included excursions, included wine at dinner, included specialty dining, self-service laundry for everyone, and a crew that has the actual bandwidth to see the human beings in front of them, is sailing an itinerary where the destination is the reason for the voyage. No casino noise, no upselling gauntlet, no 5,000 strangers fighting for a hamburger. A ship designed for the passenger, not for the passenger's wallet. The loyalists, who figured this out first, didn't write another cruise critic complaint. They didn't wait for Carnival to walk it back. They booked. The only question is whether Carnival notices when you leave with your wallet. And honestly, based on everything we just walked through, they're counting on you leaving quietly. Don't. Subscribe for more stories like this.